welcome to my 4th of July presentation. I hope you're all excited to learn a lot about Vore. Today we're celebrating the 4th of July. It's a holiday I made up for funsies because 789. And I mean, we like Vore, why can't we celebrate it more, you know? But yes, today we're celebrating the 4th of July and we'll be doing a Vore rally. So every single hour, one of the people who are participating will raid into the next person. If you look at my pinned message right now, you can see everyone that's participating in the 4th of July today. We all have a bunch of different events. Some are art, some are tier lists, some are ASMR, and mine is the Vore 101 presentation. I will have a second part in the rally later on because I was like, I gotta start what I finish, right? Or no, hold on. backwards. I gotta finish what I start. So I'm gonna start and finish off the Vore rally with some nice ASMR later with a very specific ASMR model that some of you may be familiar with. It's very Vore centric, so it seemed perfect for it. We got our little friend here. Here's a demonstration of what Vore is for anyone who doesn't know. Nice and tasty. That's Vore. There, we're done. Presentation over. I'm just kidding. But that is pretty much what Vore is. So let's get started. Let me know if you have any questions, and then I'll also have a little question section at the end. I'm hoping I can get through this whole thing in time. We'll see. I haven't done this presentation before, so we'll see how it goes. There we go. So the etymology of Vore, it is derived from the Latin word vorare, and vorare means to swallow or devour. It's very straightforward. Vore, vorare, Latin. I mean, a lot of words come from Latin, so it makes sense. So what is Vore? I'm specifically going by the definitions. So Vore falls under vorarephilia. So we use vorare from the previous slide. So to devour or swallow, and philia, which is like a sexual inclination towards. Vore is not always erotic, but specifically based on the definition of putting those two words together. Putting those two words together, it means the erotic desire to consume or be consumed by another person or creature. Like how I just vored Ambi. It doesn't have to be sexual. Like some people like it because it's nice and cozy, kind of like a hug, things like that. But just strictly based on the definition of the word, I had to put erotic there because I'm gonna be as specific as possible. Also, it cannot be enacted in real life. It's fantasy based because we can't just go around swallowing people. It's not like we're made for that. We're not snakes. We don't unhinge our jaws. We're not bigger than other people. We can't just go, nom, nom, nom. But this is, at its core, what Vore is. To consume or be consumed. Some people like to be consumed. Some people like to do the consuming. There are some people who enjoy both as well. I mean, there's a whole variety of people. So what are the different roles in Vore? There's generally 2 roles. I mean, technically, I guess there's a third one if you're just like an observer, but that doesn't really count. We're not doing, what's it called? Oh, my brain is blank. When you like watching, we're not doing that. My brain's like, there's a word for this. I know there is, but I can't think of what it is. It's not Vore cucking. Man, you sit in the Vore chair instead of the cuck chair. Voyeurism, yes. While it starts with a V, we're not talking about it today. But there's 2 main roles in Vore. So there's the predator. They're the one who is often dominant. A predator doesn't have to be dominant. It's kind of like how a top doesn't have to be dominant. Like you can be a soft top. Like you can top from the bottom kind of vibes. But there's pred, which is predator, often dominant, and does the eating. It's a very direct definition. They're the one who eats the other one. And then the other role is prey, which is often submissive and is eaten. You can also view it as like how animals have predators and prey, like how the wolf eats the bunny. That's an easy way to remember it. Like right here. So there's multiple different types of Vore. So obviously you're eating someone. That's the baseline, but there's different ways to do it, you know? So there's soft Vore, hard Vore, ayo, macro Vore, micro Vore, tiny Vore, and same size Vore. Some of these you can tell what they are by their words and like their titles. They're very straightforward. There's nothing that's like, oh my god, this is so hard to understand. It's like, no, this is very straightforward. We try to be very simple here. We're like, big brains not needed, just eat, only eat. So we're gonna start with soft versus hard, which sounds a little lewd, but hang in there with me. It's not lewd, not this time. So let's see. So we have soft, which means you're consumed alive, whole, and unharmed. So that just means kind of like how you've seen like a snake eat someone. You're just like, home. And you eat the whole thing. Or like how I eat Ambi. I don't chew him. I don't rip him to shreds. He's just swallowed whole, and then I plorp him out later. So soft can be survivable or be fatal. I personally prefer soft Vore, where it is not fatal. So like I plorp people out. I'm just like, okay, I ate you. You've been in my tummy for a little while. Now you're safe. And now I can do it over and over again. Because I mean, if it's my favorite snack, I want to be able to eat it over and over and over again. So I know sometimes people think that soft Vore isn't fatal, but it can be fatal. It just depends, because you're not getting hurt going in, but you can be digested, like with stomach acid, or, you know, digested normally, that type of thing. Because there's other types of Vore too that doesn't involve the stomach, which we'll go into in a little bit. And then there's hard Vore, which I personally do not like hard Vore. It's a little too violent for me. People often view it as gory. Which I mean is fine. People can like whatever they like. It's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea. Okay, but hard is consumed with injuries incurring. So like ripping and chewing. So like, I'm gonna get a little graphic. So like sometimes like biting heads off, or like limbs, or like seeing them chewed in the mouth, that kind of thing. But yeah, so also like being chewed in the mouth, crushed up, that type of thing. And hard is fatal. I don't know if there's an instance where hard is survivable. All of the hard Vore I've seen and the way people talk about it, it is fatal. I'm not saying there can't be a survivable one, but going on how gory it is and how like kind of violent it can be with like chewing and ripping and stuff like that, I don't see how it's not. So these are the two, soft and hard. Next we have, I put all these on the same slide because they all kind of fit together. So there's macro, micro, tiny, and same size. You may have seen macro and micro with like economics. Similar, but you know, different context because we're talking about Vore today. So there's macro, which is being consumed by a large predator. Oftentimes this is like a giant or giantess, or like a giant monster, that type of situation. Economy Vore, obviously. Got to put all your money into the Vore economy. So this would you'd see a lot of times. So like, I like being like, oh, I'm a giant gal, I can just eat you up, you know? I like small, tiny things. So this would be, this happens a lot. This happens a lot in Vore. There's just one person who's like a giant or something and eating someone else. You can become giant through magic. You could just become like already are a giant or giantess. You're a giant monster, something like that. So larger than human proportions. So it's very easy to eat them. What goes along with that is micro. So it has the same type of feel. However, the prey is being transformed into a smaller being and then consumed. Something that goes along with micro are tinies, which are just little tiny people. They could be, you know, just, you know, giants and tinies. You could just have someone who gets shrunk by like medicine or like a special ray or magic or something. Like there's so many different ways to have tinies. I've done a couple of different ways just with my my Vore ASMRs I do on YouTube. I've done macro and I've done micro. Yeah, some are born tiny too. Like that's just a thing. It really depends on the story. Like these are just like different ways to have Vore. So I feel like either macro or micro are probably the most common ones, just because like you have such a big size difference. The consumption is very easy to do. And you're not like, how does that work? how does this happen? It's like, well, one's smaller than the other, so it's very easy. Next, you have tiny, which is where a tiny predator consumes prey much larger than itself. So the best example of this is like a snake eating something, and then you like see the shape of the thing it ate in the snake. Like you see it a lot of times in cartoons. There's a specific scene in Tuca and Birdie where a snake eats Tuca, and she's just like inside the snake. And I think a different snake ate Birdie. It was just like, it was really funny because you just see like the snake, but then just the outline of them, and they go about their lives like that. See, same size as the next one. So predator and prey are the exact same size. So like 2 human sizes. I'm only using as like human as like the baseline size. So it'd be like a human consuming another human, and then a large belly because obviously that person is inside them. Kind of like how in the tiny one, the predator has a big belly. This would happen too. This one is more like fantastical in a way because it's like, well, how do you do that? How does this happen? And sometimes it's just like, it just does. It's fine. Or like someone unhinges their jaw. There's a lot of different stories, a lot of different ways this can be written, but it's something that people enjoy. I'm personally not a fan of same size or tiny. I personally like macro and micro, but I mean, there's different varieties for different people. Everyone can enjoy different things. And like, here's the thing. I know some people be like, oh, but same size, it doesn't work because you're the same size. Here's the thing. All of Vore is fantasy. It can be whatever you want it to be. You can make it work. It doesn't have to make 100% sit. Like, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense in the real world. This is all fantasy. We can do whatever we want. We can make up our own rules. It's as easy as that. So that was macro, micro, tiny, and same size. There's a lot of variants on Vore. I probably didn't even get all of the variants here. These are ones that I was familiar with, Vil was familiar with, and ones I was able to find on Google. So I don't know everything about all of these. They're kind of wild though. So here are some of the variants. If y'all see one that's not here, or if you know of one that's not here, feel free to talk about it in chat. These are just the ones I'm aware of and I could find. So we have absorption, anal Vore, breast Vore, cock Vore, nasal Vore, which I just learned about yesterday, as well as naval Vore. I didn't know either of those were a thing. So I gotta learn some things. Pouch Vore, soul Vore, which I do like soul Vore. A lot of times that's like succubus and stuff like that. Tail Vore, unbirthing, and wing Vore, which wing Vore was a new one for Vil. He'd never heard of it before. Ear Vore? Okay, I guess that doesn't surprise me considering nasal and naval Vore are a thing. I guess pretty much is that, I guess any orifice can have Vore. Oh, the only reason I didn't put oral Vore is because these are variants. So this is variant from the like specific normal Vore. So like, I feel like oral Vore is like the baseline of Vore. And then variants are different types outside of that. At least that's how I thought when I was making this list. Hold on, so thigh Vore, ear Vore, elbow Vore, feet Vore, hair Vore, dream Vore, hypnosis Vore. Some of those do fall into absorption, but I'm just sitting here like, what? I guess you can have Vore from anywhere in your body. How about that? The whole body, just the whole body is a Voreable surface. That's what we've decided. I'm just reading chat. Y'all are so cute. So shrink Vore would be under tiny, which we talked about before. I feel like these are variants of like ways to Vore. And then like there's like the macro, micro, tiny, and same size. And the micro is where you get shrunk, which I guess is a type of transformation. So again, lots of overlap, and that's completely fine. Do all of you have like a favorite variant? Like I said, mine's probably absorption and then soul Vore. Okay, next, how to engage in Vore. Because this is fantasy, it's not real life, it's a little bit harder to engage this, but it's definitely possible. I mean, hey, I'm engaging in Vore by teaching you educational content about Vore. Since the dawn of civilization, there's been Vore and furries and gay people. All of the three have been around since the beginning of time. You can't convince me otherwise. There's always gays, furries, and Vore. These are the ones that I came up with. There could be other ways to engage in Vore, so if you have another way to engage in Vore, I'd love to hear about it. These are just the ways I came up with. There's probably other ones, so this is not a complete list. This is just what I could think of. So role play, so like role playing with a partner, be that through like ERP, role playing in real life, text-based, you know, whatever. ASMR, either by creating ASMR content like I do on YouTube and here on Twitch.
Let's all also look at the story in the Holy Bible about the fish that eats a man.
Why is it I want to go look that up now just to be silly? Sorry. I separated fanfics out just because it felt a little more specific. So some of these do have overlaps. These aren't just like, this is this, but like, I don't know, I wanted to separate it out a little bit. So, like I was saying, ASMR is definitely something that you can do. So you can either listen to people's ASMRs, you can make your own ASMRs, write ASMRs. So I personally write ASMRs and I record them and put them out. And I also do live ASMRs as well, which if you're here tonight at 8 p.m., I'll be doing a Vore ASMR stream to finish out our 4th of July. Exactly. It'll be a lot of fun. And there's lots of ways you can do it. You can be really creative with it. Writing and fanfics. Okay, I know they're a little similar, but I wanted to separate them out a little bit. Because writing could just be like, you know, well, I guess reading also falls under writing, but, you know. Because writing could be like ERP, it could be writing fanfics, it could be writing an original story, you know. It's all a little different. And then fanfics could just be using characters you like. VR chat is a good way to engage in Vore because you can become really tiny in VR chat or really big in VR chat. So there's like models specifically made for it. Like I know that there was one that Vil has used before, and like I could just pick him up and hold him up even though I was like normal size, and he loved it. It was so cute. So like you can make it feel like reality by using things like VR chat or other VR technologies, and then you can have that like size difference feeling, and you can feel like really small or really big. Okay, visual novels, which we mentioned a little bit. I know that there's like some like free ones out there and there's paid ones. Like I know there's some Patreons and things. There's also video games, like there's some like giantess and small ones. I don't know specific names of games. Like apparently Escos has been making one. But there's video games, there's art, there's animation, you can commission artists, you can draw your own art. Like there's so many ways to do it. I have plenty of art that has me eating. I mean, technically, if you think about it, my model is art. So I can go, I commissioned art, so I could Vore you all. So I could Vore you all, I could Vore Vil. You know, it's a good thing you can do. And if you don't have money to commission artists, you can always like look at other people's art that's out there. You could try and make your own art. There's just a lot you can do. There's animations that are out there. Like apparently Escos does a lot of good animations. I know there's other people. I know like Par does like some animations and some artwork too. There's a lot of people who do Vore art. I would say just make sure that you find someone who's comfortable with doing that type of art. Ask them ahead of time. Don't just expect everyone to be like, oh, you're gonna do this, right? No, you're not gonna force an artist to make Vore art. Find someone who's into Vore or who's comfortable doing that type of stuff. Like for my Vore model, it actually worked out that Catloaf is into Vore, so it worked out really well for me. I'm like, oh, so you'd totally be down to make this mouth model. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, yes, this is perfect. It was made to be. Hi, Jupiter. We've been going over Vore. Vore 101, all the basics, everything you could need to know. I know consent. Consent is sexy.
Remember, chat, consent is sexy.
Consent is sexy for artwork. Consent is sexy in sexy time. Consent is sexy for Vore. We love consent here. I love consent. Very important. But these are just some of the ways I thought of how to engage in Vore. Do y'all have any other ways that you can think of? I know Ed mentioned comics, which is also, you know, another form of art. Because we have like visual novels, video games, art. I guess comics in my head fell under art, but I guess it could also be its own like category. I know with things like VR chat, it's a lot easier to make like Vore content or like size difference content because obviously you can change the size of models and then like you could eat somebody else really easily. I think that's my last slide. It was my last slide. Do we have any questions? Do you have any questions about Vore for me or for chat who may know more about like specific subjects than me? There's a lot of authors who, in lieu of non-fatal, just incorporate game-like respawning. Well, we talked about that a little bit earlier. So you just pop back into existence in perfect health, sometimes still naked on the table. Okay, that's a little funny though. I do like comfort Vore, but the main reason I'm into it is because it scared me as a kid and somehow that turned into kink. I hate to break this to you, num-nums, but a lot of people who were terrified of something as a kid, it became a kink for them as an adult, and I don't understand how that works, but it's definitely a brain thing. It's just a thing that happens. Question for you. Back in the early, you kind of mentioned it. You said it was silly before you even made your first ASMR stream, but then you did ASMR stream one day. What made you decide to do it, Vil? So me and Vil have like been friends for a long time, and it's something he really enjoys. And I started joking about it on stream, and like I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat you," and then like I do silly things like I'd shrink him or someone in chat or something, and just like eat them on my model. And it just became like a kind of like funny little silly thing I would do. And then I was like, I don't mind doing this. And as long as I'm being respectful, I feel like it's okay for me to do it. So then I just kind of started stepping into it more and more until I'm just like fully a VoreTuber. And I did the first 4th of July. It's been a journey from the first 4th of July to now. I mean, last 4th of July, we got me admitting, oh, I guess I'm into this. Because I was showing off like my mouth for this model. Just, And Red Claw was like, you can't say you're not into it anymore. And I'm like, okay, maybe you're right. And I wanted this of my own volition. I'm like, I want a really cool buggy mouth and a long ass tongue. And Bill's like,
yeah.
ah.
Yeah, no one look at me. Like I might have influenced a little bit, but it's not like I was like, Ava, can you please include this? I would really like it if you had this. No, this was all her idea.
It's cool, okay?
Okay, Ava, this is the part of the stream where this becomes a slight intervention. I would have been more understanding.
Well, okay.
I would have been more understanding if no. I would have been more understanding if this was Vil's idea. You came up with this. You can't say you're not into this.
I mean,
That's
I like
true.
mouths. That's not a thing I've ever hidden. I like long tongues and like
Vil,
teeth.
I like what
Don't look at me like that. Look at me like that. Don't witness me. But to be fair, I've always liked like teeth and mouths, and I think they're kind of hot in a way, especially like sharp fangs and like tongues and stuff. So it wasn't like that far of like a jump for me. I know, Ed does such good work. Ed does pretty artwork. Yeah, Ed posts on Blue Sky exclusively, I believe. But I hope you all had a lot of fun with me and with the start to the 4th of July. We are going to have a total of 7 other people. If you look at the pin post, you can see who else is going to participate. I think I put them in order. So in a few minutes, I'm going to be raiding into Vore or Voraisha. Then Megami Maho will be streaming as well. Vil VTubers I love. Catloaf, who's here. Roxy Manticore, Lucky Cat Kira, and then myself again at 8 p.m. Vore is next. I'm not sure if she's already started streaming yet or not, so I probably should check that. But I'll be raiding into her at 2 o'clock. I want to make sure we keep everything on schedule. I'm the first one here. Vore is streaming good. So I just want to make sure. It's my event. It'd be kind of wrong for me to like be like, hey, we need to be on schedule, and then not being on schedule. So in total, we'll be streaming from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll have 8 hours. So, 7, 8, 9, because it's the 7th of July for 8 hours until 9 o'clock. So we get a little pun in there. I love my puns, because 7, 8, 9. I'm sorry. I'm such a nerd. Ava, I am like that with feet. I don't even like feet, but I respect the people with it, because after all, they're just people with it. As long as you respect them, then that's good. I'm glad you're respectful with Vil in that one. I love Vil. I love Vil too. To be fair, it feels nice to have my feet played with. So, not Vore related, but to be fair, I didn't even know that until Vil. So, sometimes you learn stuff about yourself. Oh, here, I'll eat Vil for this last little Vore here. One last little snack for the road. I got my little guy here. We love our little guy. Look, he loves it so much. A perfect little snack for me. Nice and tasty. I know, Vil's so cute. I think that's a perfect way to end it. I hope you all learned a lot about Vore today. I hope you all had a lot of fun with me. I hope you all have fun with Vore and the rest of the VoreTubers who are going to be streaming today. And I'll see you all later tonight for some Vore ASMR. I love you, Gloopies. Bye-bye.